Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a late night storytelling. I had to put some lip gloss on because, these lips, they gotta stay nice and moist. Alright, I got a story for you guys about twins. I know a lot of people who enjoy twin stories or, are curious about twin telepathy or are just experiencing twins in their life, whether you have a twin sibling, a twin family member, twin children, twinning it out. My story about twins, it's not that typical twin connection in a sense, I guess, but it is because I connected with the twins, like twins revealed themselves to me, right? So, what do I mean by that? One day I was meditating in my bed, just relaxing and kicking it, you know, maybe some people call it sleeping, but I don't call it sleeping. And it's simply because you can't be sleeping if you're seeing, right? So as I'm meditating, the curtains start to rise and I could see what I'm looking at. I see there's this lady sitting in an office, beautiful, successful. She feels like, to me, that she has everything that she's looking for in career, in love, in family, finances. She seems to be very well balanced. Okay. Now, I see that she's sitting behind this desk and she's answering phone calls. Hello, how may I help you? Yeah, da, 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 da. Can't really hear the conversations, but I know she's busy and she's hardworking. I could also see that she's typing away on the computer. It's like she's drafting up emails, right? Drafting up letters, things that pertain to her career. Now, I can also see the details of this office. The details of this office is top notch, really and truly, because there's fine furniture of like premium quality in this office, right? And as I see this woman having her dream lifestyle, right? The door opens to her office, and two children walk right on in, a girl and a boy. They walk over behind the desk, they hug this woman, and you could see that they're in the middle of a warm embrace. And I could feel like, how cute, right? Like, genuinely, how cute. And then a strong, tall, dark man walks in, and he joins in on the embrace. And I'm thinking, this family is complete. Yeah. Beautiful partners, beautiful children, successful careers. Maybe people want more than that, but for me, I was like, wow, she's gonna get what she's looking for. Now I come out of this vision, right? At the time, at the time, I didn't know that this was a rule of thumb. Now, if you ever watched my other video about Annie who picked up the wallet and could see what's happening in the future, or see who the wallet pertained to in a sense, right? Who she would meet in the future, I should say. Annie also taught me something about my gift. And she said, typically, when you see somebody or something in the astrals, the first person that comes to your mind, that is usually who you are seeing. Now, once again, taught me this later in my life, right? And when I could see now why she said that, because once I came out of this vision, I had this uncontrollable urge. And this uncontrollable urge was telling me to talk to this particular neighbor who I assume it's a part of the vision that I'm seeing, right? Now, this uncontrollable urge to talk to her did not care where she was, who she was with, what she was doing, and what time she was doing it with. Like, it didn't matter. None of that information, right? So, I call her. Not one time, not two times. I kept calling. She declined my calls. And she goes, "Hey, I am not home right now, but I can talk to you later." And then I replied to her instantly. I said, "This is urgent in a sense. Can you tell me where you are? Maybe I can meet you there." I'm persistent, but again, you have to understand that this is a urge that I am not in full control. Like, I am being obedient to what I'm seeing and what I'm feeling, right? Like, I kind of let go and let God in a sense, right? So she goes, "Okay, let me figure out if you can come where I am because I'm at the neighbors." And I said, "Okay, ask them. Go ahead, ask them." Now I'm sitting on the other edge of the phone because I'm just like, yeah, as soon as she says I'm coming, right? So I changed my clothes because I was meditating and I want to wear some outside clothes. Not everybody understands that concept, but I have to do that to let y'all know that I don't wear my outside clothes inside my house and all those things. But that's not about this right now. Anyways, I get dressed and I run over to where she is because she's at a neighbor's house and she's also my neighbor, remember? So she's just in the neighborhood, right? And I get to the neighbor where she is staying. And as soon as I cross the threshold of where she is currently located, I have this dark, eerie feeling, and I slowly turn my head to the left, and I could see that there is this huge snake sitting in a tank in this corner, along with the person who said that I had permission to come over and her partner, right? And I also believe there was more people in this place, but you lose focus after you see like a big giant snake in a tank, right? You focused on getting in and literally getting out, especially if you're not a fan of reptiles. But anyways, I see my friend and I see her sitting in the corner and I just zip line it to her, right? I said, "Hey, how you doing? I know I am probably like being very invasive in a sense, but I just felt like this message really had to get to you and I felt like it had to get to you now." And she goes, "Is everything okay?" "Everything is fine. Are you okay?" And she goes, "Yeah." But you could tell that she's not fully 100, okay? So I said, "Okay, well, I just want to tell you something, and I'm really sorry if I'm invading your privacy, but I feel like this is something that you really, really need to know." And then I proceed to give her a read, right? So I talk about her career first, and I talked about being a realtor. And then I talked about children, having a girl and having a boy. And then I talked about her love life. The man that was standing in the corner beside the neighbor who said I can come over, standing beside the python cage, tank, frightening thing, right? And as I'm also giving her a read, I'm also asking her, does any of this make sense? Because I'm not living her life, she's living her life. And I'm just seeing what I'm seeing and picking up on the energy that I'm reading. But really and truly, like, I want to make sure I'm giving the right person the right read, right? And as long as she was answering me, yes, it's making sense, I keep going. Then the room becomes completely silent, like real silent. And then her partner that's standing in the corner goes, "Do you know what you just did?" And to be very honest, and not that I explained it to them then, but I'll explain to you guys now. I was kind of like nervous, like if I did something wrong, because when you're talking about someone's personal business, you don't necessarily know how well people are going to handle it, right? So he's asking me, do you know what you just did? And I said, yeah, because, I'm bold like that, right? I said, yeah, I gave her a read. And he goes, no, you know what you just did. So typically when somebody asks you twice the same question is obviously because there's something that they want to enlighten you on, right? So I said, what did I do? And he said, she she's been praying all morning. I go, yeah. Oh, okay, so I was answering your prayers. He goes, no, 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 no. She's pregnant. I said, that's why I saw the girl and the boy. And he goes, no, she's having twins. And I'm like, oh, they're twins. Very interesting. And he proceeds to explain to me how I basically reassured everything that she prayed about that morning. Because homegirl was in a wreck. And I get it. You went from having no kids to having two kids. I would be in a wreck too. I remember being pregnant and being worried about how to clothe the baby. Now, I know it sounds ridiculous, but honestly, that was my nightmare. Just making sure my baby wasn't naked. I'm like, food? That's fine. I can handle food. But a naked baby? For some reason, I went crazy with that. But it's not the point. The point is watch and pray. When you pray, you better watch because that answer gonna come to you. And that answer will not always come to you in the way you want it to come to you. But mind you, it will come to you. And that explains a lot of other stories that I do have that I will be sharing, right? Because sometimes your answers to your prayers or just the things that you hold in your heart, right? They come in the forms that are least expected. They really do. And most times that's a test of your faith too, because when you are getting answers, not necessarily in the package you expect that answer in. Like if you want that answer in a pink elephant with a bow tie on top, sometimes you might be playing small when you want the elephant with the purple bow tie on top because under the hoof has another $1,000,000, right? But I was happy to be able to answer her prayers and watch God use me in mysterious ways. Mm. That's the story about twins. I'll see you guys next time. All right, guys. So if you made it this far, I hope you liked the story. I do have a bonus story coming up. But before we get into the bonus story, before we do that, hit the like button, share the story with someone else. Don't forget to subscribe and leave your comments below. Hey guys, welcome to my bonus story. Now, if you stayed this long, it's because I definitely got a story to piggyback on the story that I just shared with you on twins. This was about my own personal experience being a first time mom, being consumed in prayer and concern about my unborn child. Now, the reason why I feel like this is a good story to piggyback on is because some of my friends are expecting with their first time child, and I definitely want them to understand that they're not alone when it comes to experiencing babies or baby concerns as a first time parent. But let's get into this story. My concern becoming a parent for the first time were two things. One, it was clothing my baby, and two, it was naming my baby. Now, Clothing my baby, I guess that's what baby showers are for, or family members buying little outfits and just helping you transition into parenthood, right? With all the things that you're going to need for the baby, because it takes what? A village. Now, naming my baby was something different because they say names have meaning, right? Your name kind of identifies your character and who you are, right? So, when it came to naming my baby, I thought of several names, but one name in particular stood out to me, which was the name Raphael. Now, why did I like this name? I liked it because I thought it would blend well with the families that my child will be coming from. And I like the name because of an episode on Fresh Prince that I referred to when I was explaining why I remembered this name, Raphael, right? Now I'm sitting in the backyard with my family members and I'm telling them, hey, what if you guys think of the name Raphael? Like, Raphael de la Ghetto. My family members, they start giggling. They bust out laughing. They're like, nah, it's not gonna fly. Keep trying, right? I'm a hormonal. I'm not really a fan of this answer that I'm getting, but the family says, keep trying. You'll get a name, right? That night, I decided to go to my room and I decided to pray and really meditate on what name would suit my baby. And I'm also emotional. I'm very sensitive at this time. So as I fall into deep meditation, I open my eyes and you could see that I'm in my room, but I could also see something else in my room. And this something else looks like it's 10 feet tall, maybe 12. Like it's huge. And the reason why I remember that is because I remember the ceiling in my room was gone. Like this thing that's standing in front of me would not be able to stand in front of me if the roof was there. What am I looking at, you ask? An angel. It is white, it is bright, and it is full of light. It is huge. And as I realize that I'm in the presence of an angel, and I guess we start communicating in a sense, because this angel then says nothing but one word, and it goes Christian. Now, as we're having this telepathic conversation, me and this angel, I decide to respond with, is that his religion? And the angel says nothing except for the same word again, which is Christian. But now I download more information and I could feel, oh, that's his name. So the next morning, I get up and I head down to where my family is, and we're sitting there. And now I'm kind of like, oh my God, I can't wait to say it. I can't wait to say it. I want their opinion. And I said, hey, I finally cracked. And I go, what do you guys think of the name Christian? Now, I also feel like I'm rewinding this moment in time and I'm trying again. But this time, instead of saying Raphael and I say Christian, the response is so much different. Like, yeah, yeah, that's a good name. That's it, Christian. Like, the feeling that I got, it was kind of like that slow clap in an auditorium, like, and then all of a sudden everybody just starts bursting into full blown cheers. That was the feeling that I got. So now, boom, I got a name for my baby. But you know what the most interesting part about this experience? Remember, I was a fan of the name Raphael, right? Later, when Christian is now here in 3D, alive and well, with his little 10 toes and his little 10 fingers. Why is it that some of my family members just started calling him Rafi? Like, short for Raphael. None of them knew this internal battle that I was having about naming Christian. And none of them had this discussion with me, nor with my other family members, about naming Christian Raphael. So it's kind of like the Raphael name came anyways, because that's what I wanted to name my baby. Ain't that a story?